Today, we rely on the internet more than ever. On average, we spend nearly 2.5 hours on our mobile devices each day. We get our news, we do our banking, and we make an increasing amount of our purchases using our mobile devices. And students of all ages are online even more, as more and more of their work and teacher communication is conducted through online portals. Fortunately, over the last decade, Louisville has increased access to the internet. Today, just above 90% of our population has internet access. But as strong as that statistic seems, it doesn't tell the whole story. People who live below the poverty line continue to have significantly less access than those living above it. Similarly, Black households continue to have less access than white households. And while we have made strong gains in closing the digital divide, one fact remains true. Among our peer cities, the cities that have similar characteristics to Louisville and with whom we compete for business, tourism, and residents, Louisville ranks quite low, 14th out of 17. So what are we doing now? And what can we do to help close the digital divide?
So the Future of Work Initiative is about increasing diversity in the field of data and computer science. It's also about preparing Louisville as a city for the advent of the data economy. It is coming, and it's in some ways here, but not at the level that it's going to be. It's going to hit like a tsunami. And the idea is that we can provide resources and provide training for companies and the community at large to understand artificial intelligence and to understand the impact that it will have on our community. The future of work is diverse. It's lifelong learning. It's an understanding, not just that it's diverse, but an understanding that creating a pathway where people who are traditionally marginalized and underrepresented not only understand that they can be in the field, but that the field needs them. And so that, when you think of it in that way, when you think of these careers in that way, there is a place for everyone. There's a place for Black people. There is a place for people from low socioeconomic status. There is a place for marginalized groups or groups who have been historically marginalized in this field and who've historically not felt a sense of belonging with the fields of data and computer science. There really is a place for everyone. And that starts with access to technology and internet access.
So, one of the things that we've learned in the COVID-19 crisis is how important and critical it is for students to have the competencies with digital technology. So across this district right now, as I speak, we have nearly 100,000 students who are on a device, who are logging into their Google Classroom, having live synchronous classes with their teachers, but then are also going to have to work on assignments, submit assignments, digitally with their teacher. They're communicating digitally. And I think this is a world where education is going. We're not going to go backwards to the way it was whenever we come out of this COVID-19 crisis. And then in careers, when students, once they leave school, it's going to be critical from this point forward that students have the skills necessary to be successful when it comes to the digital world. So when we first went into NTI, non-traditional instruction, around March 15th, I did not feel it was going to be possible for us to do this non-traditional instruction because of the digital divide with our students. We know that out of nearly 100,000 students, nearly 30,000 of those students did not have a device, or more importantly and more critically, access to high-speed internet. About half of that 30% has a cell phone that they can access the high-speed internet. But unfortunately, we know the learning environment is not the same from a cell phone as it is from a Chromebook, laptop, or iPad. And so we took on the challenge that we're going to have to get these devices and internet into our students' hands. We have given out nearly 55,000 Chromebooks to families and students. And so in the spring, we gave one per household. We know that's still a problem because how are students going to have multiple students in a household going to be working in a live classroom with only one device, and the parent might be working on that device. So as we moved into the fall, we've given multiple devices per household, 55,000 of them. But we still have high-speed internet access issues that we have to deal with. So we've given out about 11,000 hotspots, but it's so important to know that that is a short-term solution to a long-term problem. When you look at the heat map, the digital divide in our community, it is very clear which of our communities have little access to high-speed internet, where as much as 75% of the households do not have access to high-speed internet. So we can give hotspots to those families temporarily, but a year from now, 2 years from now, we'll be in the same spot we are unless we look together as a community at the infrastructure and say, how are we going to have a long-term solution to providing high-speed internet to all households in our community? When we look past COVID-19, the world is going to change significantly, and especially in education. And I think we are going to do things differently. So moving forward, I believe we will provide interventions to students in a different way. We can provide those interventions digitally. If a student misses school or is absent for school from illness, they still may be able to access their teacher's classroom if they have a device and high-speed internet access, and we can mitigate the problems with attendance, which is an enormous problem in education across America. There are so many opportunities to provide special education services, other wraparound and social services to students and their families in a digital way that COVID-19 has really put a spotlight on. And so we are finding certain students who were disengaged before who are finding much more success in a digital world and an NTI world. And so we may even have students who stay in this type of learning opportunity when we move forward. So people have asked me, what is JCPS going to do about the digital divide? But I can't say this enough. The high-speed internet access challenge is a community-wide problem. We must have community partners in this work. And I have had a whole lot of conversations with community partners, whether that's metro government, state government, foundations, nonprofits, that we all have to be in this together. And so we are now looking to our community partners, foundations, nonprofits, to say, how can you pitch in? We will obviously bring some of our budget to the table, but we also need other resources to ensure that K through 16 model is moving forward.
Beyond education, Louisville Metro government is also constantly looking for ways to improve access for everyone.
So the digital divide certainly has a racial component, but it's a bigger conversation than just that. One of the best practices into identifying what the digital divide is in your community is to follow poverty. But we know that poverty is a systematic issue, right? Of wealth gap, racial equity, etc. So these are the issues that are also impacting the digital divide. But the digital divide does not look the same everywhere. You have urban areas that are suffering from being priced out of the market, that are lacking infrastructure, but you also have some rural areas that don't have access to technology as well, especially the internet. So the digital divide is more broad than just to say it's a racial divide. There's certainly that component, and it is very real, but it's also there's also a rural component to the digital divide. Our partnership with Louisville Metro Housing Authority, who's really a founding partner of the Digital Inclusion Program, receives donations from banks, other organizations of physical assets of computers, laptops or desktops. We in turn put in our work, and we help between both organizations re-image these computers. These computers may not be enterprise solutions or any longer, but they make great family and home computers. So we're helping a lot of things when we're doing this. We are reducing e-waste. We are empowering the community by giving them access to technology. And we're removing these barriers by doing so. And then in turn, we partner with different service organizations, the same ones that help us with our digital inclusion. Our partners also help us deliver digital skills training for their clients and people that go to their organizations to help get services, right? Our partners are mostly catering to the underconnected, the underserved community, and that's what makes them great assets to train on digital skills, help families get connected to the internet, and on the back end, earn this computer that goes into the home. I really wish that folks in the community could see the stories that I have seen when we turn a computer into a family, when we help them get connected, when their credit goes up, when they're able to sign up for college classes. I wish they could see those smiles when they get their very first computer. And just the other day, one of our partners came to do a pickup, and they said, our partnership with you has changed the game. And that's what it's all about. We are empowering the community through technology, because technology's been what it's always been, as a tool. We need to make sure we remove the barriers so that all of our community has equitable access to technology.
What are you and your organization doing to close the digital divide? What information do you need to support your ideas? Maybe we can help. If you're working on internet access in our community, visit greaterlouisvilleproject.org for data that can help. Still don't see the data you need? Contact us at glp@greaterlouisvilleproject.org or call 502-855-6961.